As the population grows, the roads start to become crowded and tight. We're slowly seeing how wide roads become congested these days. So when this happens, what else is left to do? It's impractical to fly over short distances, and we can't walk on water. You might be wondering, is there a solution to this problem? Fortunately, technology has evolved very fast. So, many experts thought of ways to solve this, and one of the solutions is underwater tunnels. Hello, and welcome back to Mega Builds. For today's video, we'll talk about the 6 mega underwater tunnels that will amaze you. First up, let's talk about the Seikan Tunnel. This is an undersea tunnel linking Japan's main island of Honshu with the northern neighboring island of Hokkaido. With its length of 53.8 kilometers long, this is known to be the second longest tunnel in the world, next to the Gotthard Base Tunnel in Switzerland. Looking at this tunnel, you can see that it has a rail line, and it lies under the Tsugaru Strait that separates Honshu from Hokkaido. The construction of this amazing underwater tunnel was sponsored by the Japanese National Railways in 1964. Due to how demanding the construction was, they needed at least 3,000 workers at one time. The external conditions during the construction of this tunnel were not that perfect too, since they had to experience quite a lot of cave-ins, flooding, and other mishaps, which resulted in the loss of 34 lives. They were able to finish this project in 1988, and even now it remains as one of the most formidable engineering feats of the 20th century. The Seikan Tunnel was built with easy travel in mind. During the 1950s, the main ways of traveling between the main island of Hokkaido was ferries. It took a lot of time, and it didn't feel so safe either. It also didn't help that during a typhoon in 1954, a ferry boat sank on the Tsugaru Strait, claiming more than 1,400 lives. This is why air transport became more in demand, but a flight can only accommodate a few passengers at a time, so they had to find another alternative. There came the birth of the Seikan Tunnel. However, as time passed by, people noticed how cheaper air travel between Honshu and Hokkaido was. Imagine, it was as cheap as rail travel, but with a shorter arrival time. Despite the excellent engineering, construction, and financial efforts of the Seikan Tunnel, the cost of traveling through it remains a disadvantage. Even with that, the Seikan Tunnel still remains as an important hub for freight trains, especially for transporting agricultural goods. During the year 2016, the tunnel started to accept the Shinkansen bullet trains, but they also had to discontinue other passenger lines. The Shinkansen trains did not only create a logistical problem for both high-speed and freight trains, but also generated a shock wave in a tunnel setting. This can possibly result in danger to freight trains on the narrow-gauge track. This is why they have decided to make a rule that a Shinkansen cannot travel at full speed if a freight train is also in the tunnel, and transit must be carefully coordinated. Up next, we have the Taihu Tunnel. Last January 9th, 2018, the Taihu Tunnel construction began. In just nearly 4 years of building it, China has finally opened its longest underwater highway tunnel for vehicles. The tunnel is part of the 43.9-kilometer Shenzhou-Huangsu Highway, which opened to the public on December 30th, 2021. It provides an alternative highway for visitors going between Shanghai and Nanjing, Jiangsu's capital. The Taihu Tunnel, which has a length of 10.79 kilometers, runs beneath Lake Taihu in the Jiangsu province of eastern China, about 50 kilometers east of Shanghai, connecting the expressways of Suzhou, Wuxi, and Zhengzhou. It was built to alleviate traffic pressure on the cities next to Lake Taihu while promoting the economic development of the cities and Yangtze River Delta area. Jiangsu government officials claim that the tunnel's construction cost was 9.9 billion yuan, or roughly $1.56 billion. Now let's go to the Atlantis the Palm in Dubai. Beautiful, luxurious, and high quality, those are the words you will surely utter once you see the Atlantis the Palm. This is the first luxury hotel resort to be built on the island. It's specifically located at the apex of the Palm Jumeirah in the United Arab Emirates. Its name is based on the myth of Atlantis, but to put a unique identity to it, the majority of the elements used are Arabian. It opened last September 24th, 2008. This project was made possible through the joint effort of Kerzner International Holdings Limited and Istamar World. But what can this offer? First of all, it has tons of rooms. We're not even just exaggerating because it's true. This room has 1,548 rooms. Aside from that, this nautically themed resort has 2 accommodations accommodation wings, which consists of the east and the west tower that are linked together through the help of the Royal Bridge Suite. This is also complete with the Aquaventure Water Park and the Lost Chambers Aquarium, where over 65,000 marine animals live. There are only a few underwater hotel rooms in the entire globe, and Atlantis, the Palms Poseidon, and Neptune underwater suites frequently make lists of the most unusual lodgings. These rooms usually measure 165 square meters or 1,776 square feet in total, with the entrance floor being at ground level while the master bedroom and en-suite bathroom are submerged. The interior is also cool, as it has almost floor-to-ceiling windows in both the bedroom and bathroom facing out onto the resort's Ambassador Lagoon, where you can see a lot of exotic sea creatures. However, this wonderful hotel isn't safe from controversies either. In fact, a few years ago, specifically in October 2007, the hotel was reported to have received a shipment of 28 bottlenose dolphins from the Solomon Islands. They said that these dolphins will be part of their Dolphin Bay or their aquarium exhibit. This has been a big controversy, and the hotel faced a lot of criticism from environmental groups because the export of dolphins have long been banned by the Solomon Islands government. The dolphins are being trained to interact with guests, but hotel administrators have stated that they do not take part in any sort of show or circus-like performance. Additionally, they have stated that the well-being of the dolphins is of utmost importance. As the bottlenose is not an endangered species, its shipment posed no issues. The sale was done with the agreement of the United Arab Emirates and Solomon Island governments through the company's Solomon Island Marine Mammal Education Center and Exporters Limited, who had reversed their earlier ban in courts, The dolphin's purchase price has not been made public. The fourth tunnel on our list is the Fehmarn Belt. To connect the Danish island of Lolland with the German island of Fehmarn, the under-construction immersed tunnel called the Fehmarn Belt Tunnel was created. This is made to help accomplish that task by helping them cross the 18-kilometer wide, 11-mile Fehmarn Belt in the Baltic Sea. It will serve as the world's longest road and train tunnel, connecting northern Germany directly to Lolland, and from there to the Danish island of Zealand and Copenhagen. The tunnel will be a vital connector between Central Europe and Scandinavia. It will cut the trip time between Lolland and Fehmarn from 45 minutes by ferry, including waiting and boarding time, to 10 minutes by automobile and 7 minutes by train. There will be a 200-kilometer-per-hour speed limit on the electrified high-speed rail line. The project's initial funding totaled 5.5 billion euros, increased to 7.4 billion euros upon the adoption of the state treaty between Germany and Denmark in 2010, and most recently to almost 10 billion euros. The tunnel will replace a heavily traveled ferry service from Rodby and Puttgarden, currently operated by Scandlines, a route known in German as the Wagenflugline and in Danish as the Flugelflogenstein. The Fehmarn Sound Bridge connects Fehmarn to the German mainland, and Lolland is linked to Zealand via the island of Falster by a tunnel and bridges. Zealand, in turn, is connected with the Swedish mainland via the Öresund Bridge. The Great Belt Bridge also provides a fixed connection to Funen and Jutland from Zealand and Germany. It's anticipated that the Fehmarn Belt Tunnel will be finished in 2029. When the Fehmarn Belt Tunnel is finished, it will take 7 minutes by train and 10 minutes by automobile to travel by Redbenvand to Puttgarden. Compared to a ferry crossing, people who travel by car and those who take the train will each save roughly an hour. Since the tunnel is not impacted by wind or weather, the Fehmarn Belt Link will be accessible every day of the year. The Fehmarn Belt Link will play a significant role in the green transformation of the transportation industry and is a crucial part of the future European transportation network. Reduced CO2 emissions and more space on the roads and trains will result from allowing traffic to take the quickest and shortest path. It will also be more appealing to switch from lorries to environmentally friendly electric trains for the transportation of freight. It also promises more capacity on motorways and railways. The more direct route between Scandinavia and Central Europe allows for more passenger trains to replace the in-transit European freight trains that currently occupy rail capacity on the Funen and Jutland. Train travelers will now just need to travel for 2.5 hours instead of 4.5 from Copenhagen to Hamburg for contemporary electric trains that can go up to 200 kilometers per hour. Denmark is preparing the rail links to and from the tunnel. Therefore, commuters on the route can anticipate noticeably reduced travel times regardless of whether they use the tunnel. Then we also have Norway's underwater highway. The Norwegian government is now on the move for their $40 billion infrastructure project with the goal to replace ferries with bridges, conventional tunnels, and the first ever floating tunnel of the world. Their planned underwater highways are basically concrete tubes that are submerged about 100 feet below the water's surface. If successful, this is seen to cut the Kristiansand-Trondheim travel time to almost half without having to sacrifice the environmental condition of the place. Cool, isn't it? With its structure, the floating tunnel is best for fjords, fjords surrounded by steep mountains where bridges are difficult to build and it's hard to drill tunnels. If regular bridges are built in that area, a lot of arches and suspensions at certain points are needed, but since it's a submerged floating tunnel, given that the weight is balanced correctly with the buoyancy of the structure, it is highly feasible. The Norwegian Public Roads Administration's chief engineer, Ariana Minaretti, claims that although the floating tunnel is buoyant, it's not actually floating. The tubes would be stabilized by cables attached by the seabed or by pontoons floating on the surface at around 800-foot intervals. The tube wouldn't obstruct the movement of ships, boats, or even submarines because the majority of the equipment was located deep down. Like conventional tunnels, the floating tunnel would have escape routes that motorists could take to return to the surface in case of an emergency. Plans call for the floating tunnel to open to traffic in 2050. It may be the first building of its kind, but it may not be the last. Last, but definitely not the least, we have the underwater train from Dubai to Mumbai. We all know how excellent the United Arab Emirates is when it comes to technological updates and developments. They are one of the pioneers for great technology like Hyperloop and driverless cars. One of their most exciting and mind-blowing projects to be constructed would have to be the floating underwater network by a UAE-based company named National Advisor Bureau Limited. They're planning to make the rail network run up to 2,000 kilometers, or between Mumbai to Furihari in the UAE. They're intending this tunnel to be able to withstand both the transport of passengers and other goods like oil. In one of their talks, the National Advisor Bureau Limited managing director and chief consultant Abdullah Al-Heshi said that this project is a result of wanting to connect the Indian city of Mumbai with Furihara through ultra-speed floating trains. Through this, they are seeing the increase in bilateral trades and even the easier export of oil to India from Fujairah port and import of excess water from the Narmada River north of Mumbai. It also opens up the doors for other GCC partners to improve export and imports. There are a lot of similar projects across the globe. In fact, Mumbai-Ahmedabad is expected to be connected soon by the undersea high-speed rail by 2022, along with China, who plans to connect to Russia, Canada, and the USA. That ends our video for today. We hope you've learned a thing or two. If you did, please like this video and leave a comment on the comment section below. We'd love to hear your thoughts, suggestions, and reactions. If you want similar videos, do not forget to subscribe to us and click the notification bell so you can get notified whenever we post new videos. Until next time, bye!